Hello, part 2 of my series. Hopefully, it's gonna be a series of 5 videos. Gautama, Buddha, and Friedrich Nietzsche. And those are the main brains for the subject: universe, Big Bang, evolution, art, love. You have to go through the valley of ridicule in order to come out cleansed and new, like a new perfume. And there's a little chipmunk there. It's just very nice to see him, but the camera wouldn't pick it up from here. So, and there's a baby, there's a little chipmunk. You want to see a little chipmunk there? There's a little chipmunk there. The little chipmunk doesn't care that the blue god is here. It doesn't care. It's very nice to see the little chipmunk eating. He's eating bird seed out there on the balcony. It's very nice. I don't know how I know he just left. So, and the blue god, he loves all animals. Anyway, it's very important. The subject, infinite universe, and scrambling up your neuronal connections, the old ones, and starting all new and fresh, and looking at everything as if you see it for the very first time. Kind of like an ET coming here to Earth, you know. If an ET came to Earth, he would ask a lot of questions. He would ask the Jehovah's Witnesses why they decided to put themselves into such a mental prison. And he would ask the Catholics why they would just why they would ban birth control and continuously having litters and overcrowding themselves. So he would ask all these questions. And he would ask the Muslims why they want to bleed an animal alive without anesthesia, or stone women, or put chadors on women. He would ask all these things with a head-shaking puzzlement over it, like how, why, what causes this, you know. So and that's where I want people to go to that ground zero, to that state of complete renewal, of complete starting from scratch, and asking the question, why am I doing this? Whatever you're doing, why am I doing this? And then go from there, and then keep asking more and more and more and more and more and more and more questions, and just keep on doing this and keep on renewing yourself over and over and over again, and laugh. Make sure to laugh about yourself. Make sure to make a video of yourself going swimming, and make sure to play that video every day and have a 3-hour session of total laughing, and still laughing while you're washing dishes and so on, and under the shower and all that. That's called total renewal. Okay, and don't put makeup on, and don't wax your eyebrows, and try to go for 3 days without washing your hair, and maybe put maybe don't waste any food, but I was gonna say put spaghetti on your head. But you can make yourself a flying spaghetti monster hat, for example, you know, out of yarn strings or something, you know, vegan yarn strings. You can get those at Walmart, you know, like fuzzy type of yarn, for knitting, 100% synthetic, made out of ocean plastic debris, fishing nets and stuff. Complete recycled ocean debris, fishing net, fisher people, garbage recycled into yarn. Okay, so that, use that, and then make yourself a flying spaghetti monster hat out of that. Maybe I will do this in the future. But I made myself a couple of hats with little wieners sticking out and stuff like that. And just experimenting with it, like a Medusa hat or something. And my hair looks like Medusa sometimes when I wake up. It has like a snake that will come out like this. And it's always something going on with my hair. So, yeah, don't take yourself so incredibly seriously, okay? Don't emulate someone else. Don't make yourself into a Hollywood pawn. Don't make yourself into this cookie cutter, fearful baby doll bullshit lady or boy or whatever, so that you can be accepted by your peer group and at the party or in school. And embrace it, baby. Embrace it when someone doesn't like you. Go for full force with it. Go completely for whatever encounters you at any given time. Okay, so when someone gives disapproval, breathe. Okay, breathe. Don't forget to breathe. Breathe into it. And don't even move your body. Just breathe into it and say yes to that trolling and bullying and whatever. Say yes to that situation. Say yes to that teacher situation. Okay? The troll could be your teacher. It could be a hidden teacher, and it's some kind of hidden, I don't know, clown angel or something that wants to teach you something. So use it. Use that opportunity and go full force with it. Go flow with this. Ride that surf, okay? And say, yes, I am your Kaugummi clown. I'm your whatever you want to see. I'm your tranny. If you want to see me as a tranny, then you're all welcome to see me as a tranny. If you want to think I'm a guy, then think I'm a guy, okay? It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. If you want to think that I have a jelly body, then you can think that too, okay? You can think whatever you want to think of me. If this is making you feel better in that moment, go for it, baby. So go with that, okay? Go with that. These insults that other people. Most people have to resort to insults to feel better about themselves. See this as a fact of biology. And don't let that in any way stop you from breathing or living or being yourself. So if you like Hillary Clinton, say it to other people. Say it straight into their faces. Okay? It doesn't matter how unpopular it is. Matter of fact, it's so much fun. The more unpopular something is, the more fun it is to throw it into people's faces and see their reactions and see how angry they get or offended or fearful. Oh, she said that. Now I'm going to have to act like I don't like it, because what will the other people think if I don't protest against that? that kind of stuff, just say it. And if they think of you as being a troll, then go with that too. Whatever they want to think, it doesn't matter. So, become more artistic. Start painting. Let loose, okay? Don't want someone else. Don't need anyone. Just go with what you have in that any given moment. I know it's not easy. I'm full of needs. I need Lindt chocolate all the time, even though I'm a vegan. Constant craving going on. Craving for Vin Diesel and craving to be wanted. It's childhood trauma that causes this, this incessant need. Um, Accept that, accept whatever is there. If it's mental illness, accept that. Accept that moment of mental illness that comes up, or of irrational fears, or irrational needs, or incessantness, or boredom, Accept it, breathe with it, go with it, flow with it. Except jealousy, when jealousy comes up, don't suppress that. That's the worst thing you can do. That's like when you have fever, to give yourself a fever suppressing medication, heat suppressing medication. That's the worst thing you can do. There's a reason why you have a fever. So the body needs to boost the immune function. It wants to rid itself of something, of some pathogens. And so when jealousy comes up, go with that emotion and don't run away from it. Breathe. As Pema Children said, breathe and lean into the fear. It's the hardest thing to do because it seems to be a contradiction. But that's what we have to do. We have to breathe. Right now that I'm making this video, if I had known that technique of Anapana when I was studying psychology back at the university, when I hid myself in the computer room and came at the end of the class, and the professor very disappointed, didn't even want to have my written work because I didn't give the presentation. Because I ducked away from giving the presentation because of all these hardened German men in that class. German men, they are particularly fearful of what other people think. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but that's kind of like my impression that I had. Like, they're very hardened and very fearful and very they cannot laugh about themselves at all. And so instead of understanding all of this that I understand today, I was intimidated by them, and I just had to duck away from giving the presentations. And there was only one professor, a woman, that the only person with two doctor titles, one in psychology and one in medicine, an outstanding researcher. She gave me the representative, the prerequisite, what's the name, what was the word for it, like ticket or whatever, to get into the 4 diploma exams. But the other ones, they were not willing to do it. They said, you have to give a presentation or I cannot give you this prerequisite. So yeah, and then I ended up dropping out, which is a pity, because see, and this is why I make these videos, because I want people to understand that if you don't give your child that desperate need, that desperate love that the child needs, an infant, a newborn infant, the most critical time in someone's life is is actually between conception and 3 years old. It is true. Although I am pro-abortion, I'm saying this because this is a fact. So if you want a child, then please make sure that this pregnancy phase is smooth and loving and nurturing. Okay, literally. Okay, nurturing. You nurture yourself. You don't do stress. You don't do drugs. You don't do religion and bullshit. Okay, you don't do horror movies. You have to live like a Buddhist monk in a monastery. You have to be pampered. You have to be loved. Yeah, but they don't get enough love, the Buddhist monks. But you have to be pampered, and you get foot massages, and you get everything you need, and you so that the baby grows up to be feeling completely safe and healthy, and then for the first 3 years, that's the foundation of someone's life. So don't take this lightly, because if you don't give this, then chances are high that the child will grow up to be ducking away from giving presentations in school. The child will end up dropping out. The child will end up not being very functional, not being able to even get a job or get in any way some fulfilling life, some following of his or her dreams. So the person can end up as a prostitute in Vegas. The person can end up on heroin. The person can end up an alcoholic. There are many, many paths of neurodegeneration that a person can get into, all because she or he had not received the mother love, the most important thing there is. The breastfeeding for at least 3 years, the nursing, the feeling, the touch, feeling the embrace of the mother, feeling a big, 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 big chunky mother, giving that protection and that love, and this feeling of she will never let me down, this feeling of she and I, we are one. She feels my needs. She is me. Yeah. So when that is given, everything will go smooth. Everything. It wouldn't even matter what your genetic disposition is. Your life will be smooth and well. It's not the case with most humans, and that's why I make these videos, because I suffered my whole life from the effects of a mother who was not able to give that nurturing. She just could not give it, was not capable of giving it, due to her own trauma and her own situation and her own needs and her own pain, psychological pain. Okay, so I'm not blaming her. She's a victim as well. That's why I make these videos, to point this out. The importance of, if you decide to have a child, you gotta do it all right. You gotta really do it right, okay? If you cannot do it right, don't do it. It's either everything or nothing, okay? Do you understand? Because if you continue in this half-hearted, this half-flaked path that humanity has been going for thousands of years, then you will continue the atrocities, the suffering, the religion, the clinging to images, and so on. You just continue it. Break out of that cycle. Don't have kids if you are not gonna be absolutely ready to be the perfect caregiver. This is very, very important. I cannot stress this out enough. And so those are all aspects of living, and it is whatever you decide. If you decide a child, make sure you're ready for it. If you're not ready for it, don't do it. Then abortion is necessary. Birth control is absolutely super necessary, okay, to avoid pregnancy, to avoid to have to terminate this existence. But the sooner it is terminated, the better it is for the existence. You understand? So after 3 months, I don't know, after 3 months of fetal development, I don't know if I could do it then, if I could get rid of it. I don't think I could because I care too much. But if it's in the very beginning, then you have a responsibility to do it if you are not ready for this task. It's as simple as that. And if you decide not to have kids, but you feel like you want to give a living being love, then get a dog from a dog pound. There are billions of dogs on death row right now, right this moment. There is a dog for every person's taste out there. It's the truth. And some of them, many of them are puppies even, but also get an adult dog. They also want to live. So, and that's what I'm only gonna do from now on. Is I'm not gonna even look at the breeders anymore. I'm gonna look only at the shelters, at all of those shelter dogs. Most of them are pit bulls and Dogo Argentinos and a lot of Mastiff type of dogs, because the dysfunctional people breed those completely out of control, and then these poor beings end up in the shelters. I don't want to get into the details right now. It's just so incredibly heartbreaking, and they desperately need a home, and it is better for most. It's better if they get euthanized than ending up in the wrong home. Death is better than torture. I want people to really, really get this clear in their heads, that death is actually a mercy. Okay, you don't want an innocent living being ending up in the wrong household. So, but that's why that's why I want the shelter people to really monitor who picks up a dog. People they should do an ethics test before picking up a dog. You have to be really willing to give this individual love, just like you would for a baby. But those beings are already there. So that's a little different than deliberately putting another living being into this world. Does this make sense? Those beings are already here. Okay, so give them a second chance, okay, for living a healthy, happy life. Be their parent, okay? There's no difference between a shelter dog and your own biological child. It's no difference at all. It's the same. It is a living being, an innocent living being who wants to live. So if you're ready to be a good animal mother, it could be an animal, it could also be a human baby who is out for adoption. It could be that too. But there are like disproportionately higher amounts of animals who are sitting there on death row for just existing. So take one, and if you're ready for it, if you can give that being love, and then do it, and flow with that love, and be there for the being, and breathe. Don't forget to do the Anapana meditation exercises. Breathe. and be there for that other living being. Feel the love. In the moment you feel love, you have love. You experience it, and love is there for you. Okay? The moment you feel love, you have love in your life. It's very simple. So, and so this is my message to the world: to go within yourselves, to become aware of your needs, become aware of your feelings. Don't suppress them. Let them flow. And cry it out. You know, sometimes you can scream into a pillow for a few minutes, and then don't forget, as Arjanov always said, after the anger, let the tears. There's tears behind the anger. There's deep sadness and sorrow behind that anger. So let yourself. There's the pigeon with together with the chipmunk. Oh, that is the cutest thing. Oh my gosh. Cutest thing. I don't know if it shows. The pigeon and the chipmunk together. Oh, the chipmunk ran off. So the pigeon, the pigeon chased away the chipmunk. The chipmunk didn't feel too comfortable with that big pigeon there with him. Oh, it's so cute. So it's very important to breathe, to continue to breathe, and whatever emotion comes up, breathe with it. Feel the tears, feel the sorrow underneath the anger, or underneath the resistance. Anger is also a form of resistance. So feel this incredible sadness and the hurt, and let it flow. You know, say to yourself, do it alone when you're alone. Do this breathing exercises, and say to yourself, and this is what Mara always does with her clients. Acknowledge that feeling, that is there. Don't ignore it. Don't scramble over it with something else. Don't straighten up. But feel what it is. I am jealous right now. So say it. I am jealous of her. See how that feels. Allow yourself to feel it with every cell of your body. Okay? This is how you move forward, and this is how you're going to move out, through and out. You will come out the end of the tunnel. Okay? Not escape, because if you escape from it, you just create more problems. You create more mountains of resistance and more mountains of debris that you end up in the end having to go through, and it just takes longer and longer and longer to get through it. So acknowledge whatever is there, or if it's fear of an upcoming event, or fear of presentation, or fear of an interview, or fear of illness, or aging, or becoming overweight, or whatever, whatever it is, acknowledge that feeling. This is what it is. It's there. Breathe and feel what it is, and let the tears flow, and then you're in the flow of life, and tremendous insights will come through it. And write these insights. Write anything that comes up down into a notebook, preferably with a ball pen or a marker, into an actual notebook on paper. Write it down, because that is less distractive to do this, because then you don't get messages on the screen, or you don't get sidetracked, or you don't, it's when you type, you have to pay attention to more things. So take this notebook just like a monk and write it down and have no music on or anything. And really contemplate on it and let the insights flow. And then take a break and take a nap and rest on it for a moment. And then things will become much, much, much better. If you do this every day, you will have tremendous success with moving forward and learning who you really are and what you really want from life. Okay? So let us move together forward. Take care.